trying to figure out my chat stuff. I might be having some problems. Don't know why. Captions? No. Hang on. I'm trying to figure something out. Connection was reset. Hang on a sec. Can you guys try to comment me and see if I don't know if I can use this platform because it's not letting, oh, wait, looks like I got some. I can see, but I can't see in my regular chat because your connection was reset. Okay, you guys can hear me then. Okay, that's cool. That's all right. It's just not going to show up where it's supposed to show up. Great. That's great. Try to do that. I know you guys can at least hear me, so that's good. You can hear and see me. Can you guys see a chat? Like, am I split screen? Can you guys see a chat or no? Just curious. Chat overlay. Undo. Oh, you can see the chat. Sweet. Okay. I just don't. All right. So I'm guessing the dumb thing ain't working. We'll make it work. If you guys can see me and hear me and I can read some comments, we're fine. We're going to make this work. It's fine. Right? Fine. We're just going. So this one is just a basic Q&A. So if you guys have questions about anything weird or obscure or spiritual or whatever, I'm here for it. I'm all here for it. So, but yeah, as long as you guys can hear me and I can see your questions, it works. It's fine. Fine. So, yeah, I have subtitles. No kidding. I'm going to check this out. Hang on. This is a different way that I'm logging in and it's giving me some fits. Let me see. Hang on. Oh, I just don't want to hear my voice. It's bad enough I have to watch some of my videos and you hear your own voice. Nobody likes to hear their own voice. Oh, so it's like a double chat. Okay, well, we'll roll with it. All right. After your spiritual awakening, you felt, hang on. Wait, I can't go down? Wait a minute. Crap. Okay. Can you guys see the chat or no? I'm so confused. Well, what's so weird is that, okay, these questions are coming in, but it's like I can't read them. Because some of these are, it's like I can't. Share screen, invite guest, add source, settings. Can I do that? I'm having troubles because they can see the chat, but it's like I can't click on it and capture anybody because it's the questions are going so fast that I can't grab them. You know what I mean? Like can't. And then I go here, which is normally where I go, and it's giving me that. Wait, reload.
Say try it.
Okay, if I go offline, I'm gonna get back online. So hang with me, okay? Because there's some weird glitch going on. So, like I said, if I lose you, I'll be going back live here again. There it is. Don't need the overlay. Okay, we're back. Hey, hey,
Good?
good. I think we got it. Yeah, I think so.
Hey!
We got it. Okay. Phew. Got it figured out. Just had to kind of do a weird little reset thing going on. So, all right. So these were here. All good. All good. Fabulous. Fabulous. All righty. Okay, now that I'm live and now that we're got everything ready to go, it's all good. So if you guys have any questions for me, I'm here for it. So, aloha from Maui. Fabulous. Fabulous. I'm getting a lot more international and like a lot more international people reaching out, which is great. So, let's see. Hang on. Somebody was asking, Jared is asking, what does it mean if a medium could sense white buffalo calf around me? Usually that's an indicator that you're more spiritual maybe than what you are leading on, or maybe even what you even understand. So those are people that are just kind of born naturally intuitive, kind of like me. So usually, let's see. Here's another one. I've been having a lot of anxiety lately. A lot of us have. And here's the difference. I want you to differentiate this here a little bit. Whenever we have some weird little solar flares, like we had 3 class M's very quickly in a row, which kind of puts us in a little bit of a loop. It gives us anxiety-like feelings, but it's not necessarily anxiety, if you know what I mean. So really differentiate, is this anxiety? Am I worried about future stuff? Am I thinking about future stuff and trying to control it? Or I'm scared of it? Or is it anxiety-like feelings? Because I had a couple of that lately, and I don't really have anxiety. So, but when it hits you, you're just like, why do I feel like anxious? And there's no reason why I should feel anxious. Almost always that's because we had a solar flare, geomagnetic storm, something, Schumann resonance spike, something happened. So I really just want to make sure that the anxiety-like feelings that you're having, you're not just chalking it up to anxiety and taking a pill because of it. You know, usually it is more because of a shift, but you got to remember, the more enlightened you become, the more spiritual you become, the more you're going to be affected by the moon, by the sun, especially full moons. Nobody sleeps in a full moon, by the way, which of course we have a full moon, I think on the 26th this weekend. So fun. But nobody ever really sleeps in a full moon. Like, we just don't. A lot of times with these solar flares, they cause anxiety-like feelings, heart palpitations, weird ear ringing, almost to where it sometimes kind of hurts, especially migraines or headaches, especially right here, and opens up that third eye. So sometimes right here. And then it seems like the next day you're absolutely exhausted and really freaking moody. And then the third day, which is today, we're kind of slow and sluggish, but we're getting our shit back together, so to speak. So, but that's pretty par for the course. But yeah, let's see here. Do I believe that everyone goes to heaven? Yeah, they do. I don't care how badass you think you are. Like, everybody goes. And like I said, if you do go to hell, you ain't there very long, because you're like, you know what, God, my bad. Like, we're all a piece of God's light. We're all a piece of God's light. Don't think karma's not real. Oh, you'll get karma served. That'll be served nice and cold. So, and it may not even be in this lifetime. It may be in the next lifetime. But no, not a lot of people go there. And if they do, it's not very long, not like what you think. It's more of a man-made concoction. So yeah. Dizziness and off balance. Yes, that's from that stupid solar flare. So I would tell you the best thing that you can do is get some black, like any sort of black or red crystal. Notice I'm wearing red today to ground. So black and red crystals really help to ground you down. Like I said, listening to certain frequencies that'll help to open up the root chakra, eating root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, things like that. And like certain oils like patchouli is great for stuff like that, putting your back up against a tree. And I'm fully aware it's cold outside. But those are all different ways that you can do to ground. And that's really going to help you with clarity, especially if you need to knock some stuff out when you're at work, but you can't because you're in la la land. I get that. So, let's see. What's with the number 1111? So here's the deal. When you begin to go through a spiritual awakening, you're either going to see your birthday a lot or you're going to see 111, 1111, those type of things. And that's just Spirit's way of letting you know that you're connected. Because I always tell people it's one thing to understand your connection to God. It's a whole nother ball game when you can feel that connection. And when you start to see 1111, that's your indicator that, yeah, you're feeling it right. That really is your connection to God source energy. So absolutely. Here's another one that's actually really common that happens a lot. Why do I aggravate my coworkers? I don't try, it just happens. You want to know why, Shelly? It's because cockroaches don't like light. People that are enlightened or people that are in a spiritual awakening vibrate at a higher frequency than people who are not. And muggles don't like people higher vibe. It's like two magnets trying to repel each other. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you're just going to piss them off. And usually one of two things is going to happen. You're going to quit that job because you're tired about being an outcast, or somehow you might get let go of that job because you're not supposed to be there anymore. So very, very common, especially at a stage 3 of your spiritual development. Really common. Here was this one I saw. Had a dream about your sister who passed away a few years ago. Seems so real. She gave me the okay for hard decision I was dealing with. Was that really her? Absolutely yes. There's 3 different dreams we can have. One is a visitation dream. That's when your loved ones come by and say, hey, how's it going? And a lot of people are like, kind of spooks them out. And they're like, oh, that wasn't real. I'm like, oh, yes, it was. Oh, yes, it was. And then the other 2 types of dreams are the precognitive type of dreams when you can foresee the future or have some deja vu. That happens a little bit. And then the last one is when we have reality type dreams. Those are when snakes are chasing you naked and your teeth are falling out. Those are the ones you got to look up. So, but absolutely, if you see a loved one and they're saying hi and talking to you, you're damn skippy. It's them. You're damn skippy. After my spiritual awakening, I feel detached from reality sometimes. Is that normal? Yep, it is. And those are the ones when, like I said, your throat, your third eye, your crown is open a little bit too much. We need to ground. So again, we got to use our grounding techniques. Here's one, and this is my opinion. Thought on past life regression therapy, hypnotherapy. Yes. So, because here's the deal. I'm going to tell you, don't go to a psychic medium to figure out what your past life is. You want to know why? Because I can make anything up and you're going to believe it. There's no evidence in that. And I'm an evidential medium, and I teach, that's what I teach, is evidential mediumship. So there is no evidence in a previous life because I can make anything up. And I'll tell you what, I can sit there and say, oh, I see you in Ireland and Scotland, and everybody's had previous lives there. Everybody. So like I said, but here's the deal. You wouldn't go through a spiritual awakening in this lifetime if your karmic debt wasn't paid. So you don't have to worry about figuring out like, oh, well, I have to deal with my past life stuff and what happened here. And when I hear people tell me that, it basically tells me that you're not willing to deal with the reality that you're in right now because it's a lot harder and more difficult to deal with. So it's easier to put that off to the side and say, oh, I'm going to deal with my past life stuff. But if you're enlightened, it's already been dealt with. So that is you're just delaying the inevitable. You're delaying what you need to do in your real life for you to be happy. So, and a lot of times it starts with speaking your truth. And speaking your truth isn't giving your opinion. It really is telling somebody exactly how you feel, not necessarily maybe even what they've done, but just telling somebody how you truly feel. And that means that sometimes you have to be vulnerable and be okay with that, because you know yourself well enough that it's going to be okay no matter what. And that is not easy to accomplish. Not easy. Let's see. Holy moly. Got a lot of these questions. Sorry, guys. So and Cheryl, just really quick on this one, you said cancer cells active again for the third time. So here's the deal with cancer. It's usually, unless it's autoimmune, but almost always for me, it's emotions. And usually it is resentment of some kind. You resent your parents, you resent your family, you resent something that happened in your world. And that resentment is what cancer usually is. I mean, we got your 10 percenters out here. That's not the case. But 90% of the time, what I see is because you're holding on to resentment with something instead of replacing it with forgiveness. And that's hard. And I'm fully aware that is. This is a legit question. Is there such a thing as being with somebody in a past life, having unfinished business in this life? Yes and no. If you're enlightened, then it depends. And the reason why I say that is because we have soul families. And so our soul families can still be our soul families when we go through a spiritual awakening. Same with soul mates, meaning that they've been with us a lot of previous lives, right? So it kind of depends on the situation, but usually the unfinished business is taken care of or handled, or you wouldn't have gone through that spiritual awakening in the first place. So I saw 555, my birthday. Does it mean you're moving on to a stage 5 soon? I hope so, Hillary, but usually that just means change is coming, and it very well could be good change too. So it doesn't always mean bad change. So this is a great question. That's why forgiveness is more for us than the other person. It's very true. And I always have to tell people, even if they told you, I'm sorry, would you still hold on to that bitterness? And a lot of people, after I say that, they're like, well, no. And I'm like, yeah, you would. You really would. So, hang on. I don't know why my camera. Just acting fuzzy today. And my electronics are not. I don't know what's going on with my electronics. My phone wasn't working right today. It's just probably me. I don't know. Do my parents come around me? Kathy, they always do. Your family always comes around you. Always. Always. That's like, you're never here alone. That's that I can tell you that's one maybe emotion I don't understand is loneliness, because I'm never alone. You're never alone. If you knew how many people were around you, you'd actually be a little nervous to go to the bathroom. So, will I get another job soon? I hope so, Chrissy. Sue is asking, should you retire this year? This year is a great year to retire. It really is, especially with money and everything else like that. So absolutely, yes. So some of these are going fast. My grandson turned 5 when we talked about 9/11 without details given. He said, oh, I know, I was there, and proceeded to tell me the entire story. And I would tell you what, Justine, I would listen to every word he says, because he probably really was there. No joke. Sorry, some of these are just trying to. Laura was asking, who did you see in the hospital by your bedside? If it's not a loved one and you couldn't quite associate that, it's the first person that pops into your head. And if you're still confused and you're like, I don't know who that was, then that probably was your spirit guide. That's probably your spirit guide. This is a good one. Is there an easy way to know if you're on the right with the right person, but question it because of past trauma. That is a common question. I think a lot of us can honestly say we've all questioned that. And I think that's normal in a really positive, healthy relationship. It is okay to question stuff like that. Absolutely. So, and as long as you're good with yourself and you're understanding that, maybe my reaction to certain situations is because of past trauma, then that's something you can fix, right? This is a good question too. When seeing spirit as real as physical, are we seeing it with our eyes or the mind's eye, or is it together? So it is a rare bird for you to see ghosts or spirit dead on with your eyeballs. Usually you're going to start to see them on the sides of your eyes. That's why you'll see something move and you go to look and it's not there. That's why, because the rods and cones in your eyeballs don't necessarily allow you to see spirit dead on. It took me a long time for me to train my brain to get in that direction. So it took me a little bit. So some people can do it that are more clairvoyant. Almost always it is pictures or images in your head that happen really, really quick. That's why. Hang on, I gotta block this person. Okay, there we go. Yeah, if you see things all the time, like I said, and the best thing that I can tell you is, first and foremost, you don't let spirit tell you what to do. You tell them what to do. All righty. So first and foremost, if I'm going to see something up the corner of my eye, the first thing I'm going to say is, if you are for my highest good, you can stick around. If not, hit the bricks, get out. So, and almost always they'll stick around. And then what you do is you stare at the ground and ask them to come closer, and they will. They'll come closer. But the minute you try to look at them with your eyes, they're going to be gone. So always try to stare at the ground and just watch. Sometimes I've also noticed a lot, like kids do this all the time. They'll give you the side eye and they're looking at you on the side, and that's what they're trying to do. So when Paige was little, she would do that. And she was like, I've never seen somebody look orange before. I'm like, huh? So, and I realized that she was trying to see somebody's auric field off the corner of her eyes. I'm like, well, that's pretty good. Let's see. I'm not doing readings, just so you guys know that. I'm just answering questions. Let me see. Once woke up to a loud fizzling sound. I was sleeping on the couch, jumped awake to the sound coming from the left side of the room, but nothing was there. Also happened years ago. Trish, it could be one of two things. It could be you getting back into your body before your body wakes up. Usually I hear that sound when I'm getting ready to astral travel. So I'm not wondering if that's probably the case. And it does. It sounds like somebody opened up a pop kind of, it's like a fizzy, it's like a fizzy sound. So that also means to tell me, though, your clairaudient or your ability to hear spirit is actually right on the money. So that's pretty good. This is a great one. Difference between a past life reading versus an Akashic record reading. So like I said, don't go to somebody for a past life reading because they're going to make anything up and you're going to buy it, right? Your best bet is to ask God to show it to you in a meditative state or a dream state. Akashic records. So, in the Bible, how it says that there's a book written with you with everything that you've done, and there's a big book. There is. That's the Akash. The Akashic records are a record of everything that you have said, done, thought about up to the point of present. That includes all of your past lives too. So somebody who is able to go to the Hall of Records to visit your personal Akash is possible. You can ask for yourself to go to the Akash. I have done that. It's actually really cool because everybody describes it the same way. It's like a big Greek building with the pillars, and then you walk up, and then there's like a book with a light on it, and it's a big old book, and then you can actually go through it. So some psychics and mediums are able to, go to your Akash. But here's the deal, is that the Akash is written all the way up to the present. So if you have a psychic medium that's telling you, I can tell you your future from reading your Akashic records, they're full of shit. Don't buy it, because it's not, the future is not written. It's not. So Ringing in the ears. Yeah, the low pitch ringing that you hear in your ears are going to be your spirit guides on the left side. The high pitch is usually angels, and the left side is usually going to be your loved ones. If it sometimes happens to both of them and you're like, "Meow," it's kind of doing some weird stuff like that, then we probably had a solar flare or some sort of an energy shift of some sort. So, what is my opinion of soul contracts? Good question. Everybody comes into this world with an Achilles heel. Okay. My Achilles heel coming into this world was learning how to unconditionally accept unconditional love by learning conditional love up to this point. So everybody has some sort of Achilles heel, whether they have to go through grief a lot, abandonment, it could be anything. I mean, there's so many different ones, betrayals, like there's so many different kinds. And so, yeah, we are going to come in with a problem that we just really need to work on. So if you're able to look back at your life and see the one lesson that keeps popping up over and over and over and over again, that's your Achilles heel right there. That's the one thing you need to master. But also understand that soul contract includes your spirit guides that are here to help you, your guardian angels that are here to help you, the soulmates that you meet, the soul families that you're going to meet, all those different things. There is a bit of a contract, but it's loose because we have free will. So our path is really wide, and it's our spirit guide's job to keep us on the path. And it's our guardian angel's job to make sure that we're safe, because if it's not our time to go, they've got to make sure that we're safe because we still have free will. So yes, there is a bit of a soul contract, but it's pretty wide. But understand, every 7 to 9 years, you're going to get your teeth kicked in pretty hard. Something's going to happen. But you have to remember, in a weird way, you signed up for it. So, and that's why I'm like, life is not always going to be easy. It won't. It won't. And if you want easy and you want perfect, well, then go back home, go to heaven, because that doesn't exist here. No one is perfect. Nobody is going to just not have any problems in their life. Now, some people might have easier lives than others, but it depends on what you signed up for. So, and I'll tell you, some of the most enlightened people that I've met have been through hell and back. I really have. So, this is a good one. Are there celebrities that don't have a deal with the devil? There's a few. Yes. Yeah, there is. Yep. Let's see here. Lucid dreaming of dark entities in the hallway when you fall asleep. What does it mean? Dorothy, that means that you need to start saging. You need to sage your house. We need to cleanse your house and make sure that they're not there. But somebody is inviting them in. So usually when I see dark entities in a home, it's because somebody invited them in, meaning that somebody is like possibly an alcoholic, or who's maybe not mentally stable and unenlightened, because the devil and the bad guys are going to go after people that are not happy. They're lower vibrating people. So yeah, that's, I'm like, we got to sage your place. Let's do that. All right. Why is this video so blurry? Like, it doesn't matter how close I get, it just will not focus on my face at all. At all. So weird. Oh well. Is it bad to have a welcome mat at your door? Kelly, I don't have one. Because here's the deal. You're literally welcoming anything in the door. Screw that. I'm not going to welcome. I'm sorry. There's certain people I don't want at my door. I sure as shit don't want any spirits at my door either. So no, I don't have a welcome mat at my door. Because I don't want to welcome everything in. And everything meaning spirit too. So no, I don't. What are my thoughts on therapy? Not only yes, but hell yes. And I will tell you, people that see a therapist in my eyes are really strong people, because they know that they have an issue that they're trying to solve, but they sometimes need a different perspective on how to be able to handle the trauma or what they've been through. So for me, I think therapy is a must almost. And because I don't want people at any point in time to think that it's a bad thing. It's not. It's a good thing. And I'm proud of people that are going to be okay with saying, you know what, I need some help. And that's really hard to do. That's really, really hard to do, to admit that you might need a little bit of help. So, because that again puts you down into vulnerability. Let's see here, starting to get major food intolerances to food, even vegetables. Been on my spiritual journey for quite some time. Candace, I am too. Peppers and I are no longer friends. Never had allergies to peppers ever. Now I do. So the higher you vibrate, the lower tolerant you will be of bullshit food. That's why 20 minutes after you get done eating and your guts feel like they're getting ripped out, it's because you shouldn't be eating those foods anymore. Shouldn't be. So my 15-year-old is struggling with the heaviest crap so hard. Jenny, keep up with them. Make sure that you're there for that one. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but if it's a girl, then usually dad has a lot to do with this one. So, because it takes two people to raise children. It does. It takes a mom and a dad. And if you have one and not the other, it will absolutely affect the mental health of that child. It will. And I don't think people actually think about that. I really don't. So, gosh, I gotta ban more people for being weird. Okay. Here we go. Here's a good one. Are soulmates always for life, or are they sometimes only in your life for a certain season? It depends on the contract that you need. So it honestly depends on your contract. Some people will have their soulmate and then that soulmate leaves after 5 years. Other people get lucky and get to be with their soulmate for 50 years. So it weirdly depends on your contract. It really does. But at the same time, it's okay. Every person coming into this world has a different contract or something different that they need to work on. Let's see here. How to go about cord cutting with a friend you've known for years and have a lot of history with. So what I do when I cut cords, oh, I wonder if I have it. Hell yeah, I do. Hey, hey, hey. Check this out. Boom. So what I do is I will take a nice bath. And then what I do is I cut cords from everybody. So I'm going to wave this, and usually in my solar plexus here, I'm going to wave this here and wave it behind me and say something like, God, angels, I hereby cut any cords that may bind me to everyone and anyone. And when I do that, I'm sitting there in my bathtub naked, not connected to anybody but me and God source energy. And don't worry, because usually within 5 minutes, Eric's going to go like, babe. I'm like, yep. And the minute I respond, yep, that cord got attached. And then Steven's going to call. Then Paige is going to text. Then my mom will reach out. And then all my friends start reaching out. And then my dog starts barking. So understand, I don't think there is anything wrong with cutting cords and just standing there isolated, knowing that when it's your turn to cross over, you're not attached to anybody. So you have to be okay with that at the end of the day anyway. So, but like I said, that's how you cut the cord. Selenite works great. So does black kyanite and naviculite. We actually have selenite knives at Awakenings that you could use to actually cut those cords. And you will weirdly feel a little flutter in your tummy when you do that. So, but the biggest thing is that if you're trying to cut cords with this friend, the minute you cut the cord, they will contact you because you're going to be in their brain because you cut the cord. So you cannot respond. The minute you respond back with like yes or K or whatever, you just reattach that cord again. So, and sometimes if you have to cut the cord with somebody that's really close to you, you formed a really big bond with that person. That's what family bonds are. So, and sometimes they're really thick. So we got to cut them a lot. Right? So sometimes we have to do it a lot, but that's okay. You could say it anyway. That's just how I verbalize it. You can say it however you want, So Judy is asking, what are my thoughts on the evil eye? I think it's a great protection mechanism. So basically it's an evil eye saying, I see you, and whatever you're putting my way is going to go back on you. So I think it's a great protection mechanism, and it should be placed in the front door, or when you open up your door, it should be placed right there, or hanging like in your car or something like that. So, So husband with dementia is declining faster. Does that mean that you're getting close to the end? Gina, yes, unfortunately. And a lot of times you will hear them say something about, I just saw my mommy or my daddy. It depends on how they verbalize it. Sometimes they're not always verbal. But if they begin to verbalize, I'm seeing my mommy and my daddy, then you know they're getting closer. Because for me, dementia is for somebody who had a really, really hard life. It could be toxicity too, but usually it's for somebody that feels that they had a really hard life, but they begin to revert. So they start at 80, go to 70, go to 60, and that's when grandma starts getting a mouth to her because she's releasing all the venom that she's holding on to and all that hardship. And then she goes to 50, 40, 30, 20, and then she's like, I see my mommy. And then she starts to go in fetal position. And when they're ready to go, oftentimes they're going to put their arms out like this and do different things. And you'll have a little bit of lucidity and then they'll go home. So that's it. And you can ask any hospice nurse this. It seems to be that's the usual pattern, the usual pattern. So this is a good one. Being enlightened is making you feel isolated from family and friends. On ideas on not how to feel so alone. Yes, this is very common at a stage 4 is when you've rocked the boat in every aspect, right? You got the divorce, you're by yourself, you've moved, you changed jobs, and you're sitting there going, well, it feels lonely at the top, but it feels right. I'm like, right. So understand where you're at now is the perfect chance for you to learn how to be your own best friend. So do things normally that you wouldn't do. If normally you wouldn't take yourself out to go see a movie, go see a movie. If normally you wouldn't take yourself out to dinner, go out to dinner. So do things that make you feel uncomfortable because at the end of the day, I guarantee you're going to be proud of yourself. All right. Your friends and family that are enlightened will come around. You will find them, I promise. But it's almost just like we have to detach the old, stand isolated for a while, and invite in new. And that takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes up to 3 months to a year and a half. Usually it's I've never seen everybody go past a year and a half, really. So, but it depends on your timeline too. So that's why I'm like going, it does make you feel alone and isolated, but it feels right. And I'm like, good, this is the perfect time for you to learn how to be your own best friend. So, and it doesn't feel comfortable at first. It just doesn't. This is a good question. If a relative did something inappropriate on earth, will they pay for it when they cross over? Not when they cross over, but they will have to reincarnate, probably here, maybe another galaxy, we don't know. But they will have to enter into circumstances that they left, meaning that if they killed somebody in a previous life, well, in this life, they may get killed. So because karma always has a way, debt has to get paid. So like I said, it's not necessarily when they cross over because again, everything's perfect there, but they know that they screwed up and they have to pay for that. So they'll have to incarnate back into the shithole again. Gross. Oh, that's a great one. Before astral traveling, your whole body vibrates like it's being electrocuted. What is that? What that is that is your soul separating from your body. That's normal. I can verbalize that of when when you're getting ready to fall asleep and you do the jump scare and sometimes you feel a little shocked. It's the same thing. It's because your soul's getting ready to leave and your body's like, damn it, I'm not asleep yet. So when you feel it vibrating, especially when you're in a meditative state, it vibrates. I guess it's more palpable when I meditate in astral travel than when I go to sleep in astral travel. So there is a little bit of a difference with there, but when you're more, active or awake, and then you're in a meditative state, and then you go into that theta with your brain, that's usually what it feels like when your body's ready to squirt out. So that's good. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. What does being reborn mean for an Aquarius? Being reborn just means that you're beginning to see things from a completely different perspective. It's not the old perspective. It's a new perspective. I can't read. Some of these are going fast. How do you know when you won't come back after death? You choose it. You still have free will. You have free will here on earth and you have free will in heaven too. So like I said, you may not even want to come back. Most of us do because for a soul's growth, we learn the most here on earth because the diversity and the polarity of things. We really, really do. We learn a lot. So white flash when meditating, what is that, Nikki? That's your third eye opening up. So that is telling me that you are now clairvoyant, and it's almost like a camera flash, and it could last maybe a couple weeks, but that's your third eye completely opening up. So it's almost like somebody flashes a camera in your eyes. So yep, that's what it is. And that's all about clairvoyance. So, and that's being like popped on, but just because your third eye is open doesn't mean that you're clairvoyant. It depends on what clair you might have the most. So some people are more clairvoyant, clairaudient, claircognizant, clairsentient. It depends. It just depends. Lately, I feel like I'm taking on the sadness and stress of everyone around me like a hyper empath. What does this mean, and how can I make sure it doesn't drain me completely? Jennifer, number one, be aware of it, okay? But number two, I want you to understand something that my guides told me a long time ago. Whenever you go in and try to help someone, or whenever you try to give advice to someone and they didn't ask for it, you are disrupting their lesson that they need to learn. And that's why they get a little pissy with you. When you're like, I wasn't asking for your help, or you go in with the best intent and it turns out that you get your fingers bit or you get slapped a little bit, that's why. And so I'm going to tell you, it is not your job to fix everybody. And I'm going to also tell you that the reason why you're such a high empath is because you had a very unpredictable parent growing up, and you had to learn how to adapt the room very quickly to figure out what that unpredictable parent was going to do. And so when you in your personal life feel like you're having to walk on eggshells and you don't quite know who you are, what direction that you want, you begin to look around at the hyperactivity and go, okay, what do I have to keep my eyes out? What poses a danger? And you're going to go to the person who poses the most danger, or the person who has the most drama, because you truly want to fix that so your world is good again. It's not your job. Nobody asked you to be in that position. You put you in that position. And I'm going to tell you not to. Because unless they ask you, keep your nose in your own business. And that's hard as an empath. What was this one? Husband passed, and I find it really hard to be there for my kids when they're having depression. That's okay. Make sure that they have counseling so that way they know how to deal with their own depression a different way. So, and there is a difference between grief and depression. There is a difference in that. And so, like I said, the biggest thing is just make sure that they're getting the help that they need. And it's going to be hard for you too, Mom, because you're grieving too. So, but like I said, it's okay if they see you cry. It's okay if they see you with normal, natural emotions. That's okay. So, and if your kids don't want to do that, then let's try to figure out something else. So whether that's a really good trusted family friend, but let them pick their counselor. Don't pick it for them. Just be like, here's 6 of them that I approve of. Which one do you think that you would like to go to? Because it's time for you to be happy. And you're not happy. And I don't know how to help you be happy because I'm dealing with my own stuff. Right? This is a good one. Marcia, Marcy, I'm going to address this very quickly. Bipolar disorder with manic episodes is an abandonment issue by the opposite sex parent. So if you're a girl, your dad was never there for you growing up. Okay. And if you're a boy, it's because your mother was never there for you growing up. And the reason why they get angry is because they're in that victim mode, and they're angry because when they wanted attention and love, nobody was there for them. So that's where it stems from. Can the right person, wrong time actually be true? Yes, Matt. Yeah. Oh, this was a good one. What did I see? Do narcissists keep coming back as a narcissist? Do they ever learn? The only time a narcissist is going to change their pattern is one of 2 things. Number one, they go through a spiritual awakening and they're at a stage 4 when you have to deal with your dark night or your trauma and your triggers and all that shit. or when the opposite sex parent dies. What usually what makes a narcissist is because they're spoiled rotten by their mother. That's what makes a male narcissist. If it's a female narcissist, it's because they were spoiled by their father, or the opposite. Dad was never there, mom was never there. It has to go with the opposite sex parent. So usually, to me, narcissistic people have been spoiled by their, if it's a male, they were spoiled by their mother, and they constantly need friends around to keep them pumped up. Like, I look good, right? I'm good, right? I'm really good, right? Right? Because they never learned how to have that within themselves. And narcissistic people don't have empathy necessarily, because all they truly care about is money, power, and control. That's it. They don't care about your feelings. They don't give a shit. They care about money, power, and control. The only time they're going to care about your feelings is when they need to manipulate it. That's it. So, is there anything that can block you from conceiving? Usually, if I'm dealing with ladies that are infertile, it is usually because their dad wasn't there for them, emotionally speaking, between the ages of 10 and 14. Because dad was a truck driver, farmer, he just really wasn't around. So, and oftentimes then they pick a husband just like their father. So usually that is going to be the emotion of why that would be blocked. So, oh, she's saying son becoming like narcissistic girlfriend, now having to create boundaries with my son, super tough. Give it time. Give that time. Like you see the lesson, and this is really difficult. You see the lesson, you see the train coming down the tracks. So can I. He's got to get hit by the train. You can't protect him from this one. And sometimes they're really slow learners like me. So we get hit by the train 2, 3, 4 times because, we're a little slow. Yeah, that very well could happen. Somebody was like, wait, I'm dating a narcissist now. I feel like he's a magnet on me. Yeah, they love bomb you for the first 3 months. And then after that, you're trash. You're nothing. So here's a good empath one right here. Feeling guilty for setting boundaries with my dad. Is that normal? Yes. Yes, that's the one thing that everybody's like, oh, got to set a boundary. They don't think about the guilt, especially with empaths. But here's the deal. I don't want you to look at this, oh, I'm cutting my dad out of my life. You're not. You're simply saying that this part of you I can't handle, and it drains me and it hurts me. So I have to put up a boundary with this piece of you because I have to protect my energy, because at this point I can't help you. So that's where I'm like going, I'm not saying that you're cutting them out of your life completely. That's not what we're doing. We're simply putting up a boundary because there's a certain part or a piece of that person that is no longer acceptable in your world, right? And I will tell you that putting boundaries up with family is the hardest boundary to draw, because you picked your family for a reason. You really have to look at this and go, why did I pick my dad? Why did I pick my mom? Why did I pick my sibling? Your sibling's going to be the opposite of you, by the way. Even though you were raised in the same household with the same morals, you will not come out of that household the same. No, you will be different. So, and you have to accept that difference, because again, you can't fix or control anybody. You don't have that power. Nobody does. So, how do we know what normal grief is when we cross the line to depression? That's where a counselor has to diagnose it. Because I will tell you, normal grief lasts about 3 years, especially I say normal grief. Now, if we're talking a mother that lost a child, or you lost a soulmate, those are a little harder. Those griefs get you a little bit longer. So those are my 5-year ranges. Normal grief is about 3 years or so. When you lose something like that, it's more like 5 years. So if it's past that, then we do need to talk about depression. So, but depression is somebody who's always kind of thinking about the past, but that's also grief too. And this is where we need a counselor to come in and help us out with that. This is a good one. Get a kaleidoscope vision from time to time. What does that mean, Kelsey? That means that your clairvoyance is popping on really, really good. And when you get those kaleidoscope visions, go outside and look at the sky. It's really cool, because the whole sky looks like it's moving, but it's not. So it's actually really cool. But that's just your clairvoyance kind of coming out a little bit. So Here's another one, and I'm going to address this one. Mom has dementia. She's out loud conversation with people who are not there and talks about the devil. This is really common. I'm not worried about her having entity attachment or anything like that. This is really common, especially in nursing homes and in hospitals. There are 3 places I have a really hard time with. Hospitals and nursing homes are one of them. Okay. And that's because they're very active. And so usually when people are getting ready to cross over or there's a brain abnormality, they will start having conversations with people, but they don't always know how to describe them. So, and a lot of times people with dementia will say, well, these little people, they'll even describe little people too. So that's really common. But you know what, I always encourage, pull it out. Be like, oh, really? What they look like? What did they say? What did they smell like? What were they wearing? Like, pull that out of them. So it's pretty interesting, but I'm not really worried about a negative entity attachment or anything like that. That's actually really rare. But if she's in a facility like that, that's actually really common. Really, really common. This is a perfect question. Do we see our past loves when we cross over? Every time. And I will tell you that when, as a medium, when I was reading people, they would show up at the age they were when they died, so I could identify who they were. So if they, when if you think you're going to see a 6-year-old, you're going to see a 6-year-old. If you think that you're going to see an adult, you're going to see an adult. So really, what you think you're going to see is what you're going to see, because Spirit's going to make it as easy of a transition for you as they can. So if you think you're going to see Jesus, you're going to see Jesus. If you think you're going to see the Golden Gates, then you're going to see the Golden Gates. So it really is based on your truth. And when you cross over, you're going to see your truth. But you always see your loved ones, you always see your spirit guides, and you always see your guardian angels. Those are the 3 front runners, and animals too. They're like right there waiting for you. And we spend a lot of time hanging out with them before we do our life review up in heaven. So I don't care if you loved it and it was a snake, you're going to see it again. You really, really will. So I've actually seen people, which I thought was weird at first, but I had to ask my spirit guides some clarification on that. But even if you like really liked a certain tree, that tree will be there too. But trees are living souls too. So here's a good one, Emily, and I'm going to answer this one. And again, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. Reens is for transgender. I asked that probably 10 years ago when I was talking to my spirit guides, and I'm like, okay, but why would somebody come in, you know, struggling with this? And they said, well, number one, wouldn't that be a great lesson to learn to truly figure out who you are? And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. And they said, number 2, they came in all these different lives for like the last 3 or 4 previous lives. They come in as a male, 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 and then they come in this life as a female. And they can't figure out why they got girly bits and not boy bits. So a lot of times it's because of their previous lives that they come into this life different, and they don't feel like they're in the right skin. So oftentimes that's the reason why people would come in like feeling misfitted. So 9 times out of 10, that's it. How do you release spirit attachment? Be vocal, but honestly, be happy. Be happy. So authenticity, love, joy, happiness, those are all really high vibe emotions. The worst emotions you can have is fear, anger, and guilt. So if you're constantly swimming in those emotions, fix it. Fix it, because everything's fixable. So that would then release negative or any spirit negative entity attachments, because they can't feed off your loosh anymore after that, which is your energetic chi, if you want to think about it that way. Why do I get goosebumps when you drive past the cemetery to high school with your best friend is buried? Mark, that's their way of saying hi. Because the goosebumps is your truth, and you're kind of like, oh, wow, I remember. And then you get the goosebumps. And maybe the reason why you're remembering is because your best friend just showed up in the car with you and you felt the energy, and that's why you got the goosebumps. Getting over high morning anxiety, can't get up to change it. Pretty par for the course, but make sure you're grounding, okay? But high anxiety and panic attacks is hand in hand with grief. We have a grief, especially when somebody dies very quickly. So then you'll notice that maybe like even a few months later, you have a panic attack and you're like, but I wasn't even panicking over everything. I'm like, that's a weird trauma response sometimes with people. That's okay. Why is your cat choosing to hang around the salt lamp? Because the salt lamp gives off negative ions, and negative ions are very soothing and very calming. So that's pretty, cats do like salt lamps. Yeah, it's funny because people are like, are they real? I'm like, well, lick it. If you lick it, then you'll know it's real. Grounding mats, yes or no? Hell yes. Yep. And normally we sell a lot at Awakenings, and the company called and said, "Oh, sorry, we can't get you any grounding mats until about March." I'm like, so that even the company ran out. So we're out here for a little bit, but I do have grounding pendants, which are necklaces. Those help pretty well too. So this is a good one. Could somebody know when somebody's going to pass months before they actually do? Felt this before, Brianna, in a weird way? Yes. Yes. You'll notice that sometimes you'll give somebody a hug and you'll look at them and go, man, this might be the last time I see them. Or I just want to give them an extra hug. I don't know why. That's usually why. Yep. This is a good one right here. What are indigo kids? Indigo kids are kids like me. They're really hard to raise. We are going to rebel. Our job is to rebel against authority with truth and integrity at the format. So if you lie to us, we're going to cut you with truth up and down. We're hard to raise because my mom is a high empath and I'm not. So her and I butted heads all the time. So, but it's my job to rebel against authority because we got to break down that system. And it's my children's job. You know, these kids that don't want to get a job, that all they want to do is frilly fart around. I'm like, yeah, it's those kids' job is to rebuild what we're here to destroy. Okay. And then they're now able to have children, and those children are coming in with no fear, no bucks. And they're the ones that are going to be like, knock it off. We're all in this together. Grow up. So I'm like, but when they look at you, they got big old eyeballs too. So those are those kids. So, but indigo kids are not easy to raise. I'm an indigo. I have the tendency to be on that far spectrum of an indigo that my poor husband, he's like, you need to. And I'm all like, because the minute you say you need to with Kelli, I will do the opposite to prove a point. And I know logically I don't need to do that anymore. And I don't. But at the same time, I'm like, don't tell me what to do. But my husband's the same way. I can't tell him what to do either. So, this is good. How do you know what to do next if you think you are or might be enlightened? Taylor, I'm going to tell you, sit your ass at the buffet table and try it out. If it resonates with you, that's your truth. If it doesn't resonate with you, piss on it. It's somebody else's truth. So your job at this point is to figure out what your truth is and what it's not. All right. So you're not going to be able to find your life purpose right out the gate. Be patient with that. You will. In the meantime, sit your butt at the buffet table, try all this out. You're going to be like, what's meditation? What's a chakra? What do I got? I'm like, just snoop around, figure it out. Figure it out. But if I don't annoy the shit out of you, then you're enlightened. Unenlightened people don't like me. They don't even like the way I sound. So it makes it really fun when I'm going out with people. So, but you just don't take it personally. They don't know. Let's see here. I'm sorry, this was think I'm at stage 4, can't seem to make much progress in a new chosen career path. Do I need to pivot to something different? If you're not feeling pushed out yet, Rachel, wait. Just wait. So, are demons real? Yes, that's just because, well, we kind of created them in a way. So, but yeah, they are, but they're not. I don't think you understand that you have one hell of a lot more power than what you think you do. So you really do. Quit watching scary movies. That just screws, that adds fear to something when it shouldn't. When it shouldn't. Let me answer this one, Kristen. Is there a way to help my alcoholic dad, or do I need to remove him from my life right now? Let me explain why he's an alcoholic. Have you thought about the reason of why he's an alcoholic in the first place? That is because his dad was very mean, overbearing, and was never there for him, emotionally speaking. And so your dad chooses alcohol to deal with that trauma. He's covering up the way he truly feels. He's covering up the pain with the alcohol. So understand that's where it's coming from. And once you can understand that, you could kind of forgive him for his ignorance, and not take it personally. But until he truly wants to deal with that issue and open up Pandora's box, this is how he's going to be. So either you accept him for how he is and what he's doing, or you just kind of have to let him be what he's going to do. So, but like I said, at the same time, I don't even know. I wonder if he even knows why he drinks. A lot of times when I call him out and say, you do know that the reason why you're an alcoholic is because of the way your dad treated you and you don't want to deal with it. And they're all like, and they'll get up and walk out. I'm like, I'm not giving you your money back. You might as well sit down and listen to this shit. So they usually don't like to, but yeah. This is a good question. Is there a purgatory? Yeah, I think there is. And if I were to define, now I'm Lutheran, I'm a Lutheran girl, I don't Catholic purgatory that well. But if I had to describe that, I would say that that's the realm of ghosts. So, because they're not in heaven, they're not in hell. That to me is purgatory. So that would be ghosts to me. La 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 la. Is jealousy and envy a normal feeling, Julie? Yes, we're human. Absolutely, yes. So, but here's the deal. You have to really look at this and go, why do I feel that way? And it's usually because they're doing something similar to you and doing something bigger with it, right? So, but also understand sometimes instead of being jealous, use that as fuel to your fire. So I will tell you, I used to, I don't so much anymore, but I watched my competitors to see what they were doing and what I could do differently. So, but also I had to watch what they were doing because they were, getting a lot more followers and all this other stuff. I'm like, okay, so what am I doing wrong? So I really was able, instead of getting that jealousy and envy, which is a normal human reaction, instead of doing that, I started to look at it from a different perspective of going, okay, what are you doing? Because I need to learn some skill sets here, right? So start looking at it that way, and that'll be a little bit easier to look at. Let's see here. Hang on. Some of these are. How do you help get your hormones in check to help with weight loss? Check the thyroid first and foremost. And I would do the extended test on that. I don't know what you call that, but always check the thyroid first. Second of all, to help with weight loss, don't eat with guilt. Don't sit there and eat a bag of chips and feel bad for it. No, you're going to sit down and eat the bag of chips because you freaking earned it. Okay. So that's what I'm like, I don't want you to eat with a negative emotion. That's what gets you in trouble. That's what sticks it to your butt. So do I suggest the grounding pendant for travel and flying? Michelle, I do. I usually wear my grounding pendant when I'm flying, and I'll wear shungite on both of my wrists. So Eric and I are hitting the we're hitting the airport Thursday to go to Tucson to get some more crystals. So I will have both of my shungite on both my wrists because going through that thing is not good, but that's going to protect you from the EMF, 5G, and all that other stuff. And there's a lot in an airport. So yeah, I do. So this is a good one. Can anybody help you enhance your abilities? No. I mean, I'm not, I have to say with a little exception. Now, can a Reiki master help open and align your chakra centers so you can have a little bit more of an advancement? Yes, but usually that only lasts 3 to 4 days. The best thing that you can do for yourself to enhance your abilities is meditation. You have to learn how to control your mind and not let your mind control you. That's very hard to do. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, meditation's easy. No, it ain't. It's a bitch. Like anybody that's like, oh, meditation's easy. Oh, bullshit. No, it's not. So it's really not. It wasn't for me. I don't expect it to be easy for anybody else. I really don't. So your job is to sit there and be bored and try not to think of anything, which is freaking impossible, especially when you're first starting, because you quite literally have a chipmunk on cocaine in your brain that you're telling to sit down and shut up for the first time. it ain't gonna work. So never really does. But it's really, really hard. And I'll never forget, I was up at 7 minutes sitting there. And I remember getting so mad, I started crying because when I get pissed, I cry. And I was getting ready to go to bed that night. My spirit guide goes, "Do you know why you were so upset at meditation today?" And I'm like, "No, why?" And they said, "Because you can't even stand yourself. You can't stand yourself for 7 minutes." And I realized, holy crap, I couldn't. And if I can't stand myself, I got a long way to go. I got a long way to go. So I will tell you, don't feel that you need to sit there for 20 minutes, crisscross applesauce, doing shit. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you only need to do it for 5 minutes, then we're going to start at 5 minutes. And 15 minutes, a little bit here and a little bit there in the car, that shit counts too. So I am not one to sit there and be like, oh, you have to meditate a certain way. No. I sometimes I have to stare at a candle. Sometimes I listen to a guided meditation. Other times I go walking outside. Every day for me is different. I try to meditate the same time every day, but how I do it, it's different because I have ADHD. So some days I got chipmunk on super cocaine and I got to listen to a guided meditation to get this to sit down and shut the hell up. So the biggest thing I can tell you is that in between the gaps of thought, when you're not thinking of anything, that's usually when spirit's going to be like, hey. So that's why oftentimes when you're folding laundry or driving or doing mundane chores, that's usually when you get messages because your brains aren't thinking necessarily of anything. And it's just quiet enough that you have gaps in between those thoughts. And in those gaps is when they're going to be like, hey. So that's usually when they show up. What's going on with Israel and Palestine? I honestly don't know because I don't watch the news. So I really honestly don't watch the news at all because it's never anything positive and it's always things that are out of our control. So it's just a fear tactic, absolute fear tactic. Does taking Adderall interfere with intuition? No, neither does antidepressants. Neither does other medication. So, because here's the deal, I think this is where a lot of people kind of get off track. They think that they can get off their meds and be fine. No, your head we still have to be in a freaking reality. So, your head has to be above water so you can learn those coping skills that you don't necessarily have because of the medication that you're on. So, what I always tell people is unless you're at a stage 4 and that you're working on the dark night, you've rocked the boat, you got the divorce, you got the new job, you moved away, you did all the boundary stuff, you did all the work. When you're sitting there kind of in that point where you're feeling alone, that's then maybe when you can work on it. Again, we're not going to just do it cold turkey. We're going to work with a doctor. So, but oftentimes that ceiling is so high that I'm not going to worry about you trying to hit the ceiling. It's really, really high. So over time, you'll be able to kind of work on weeding yourself down of it. But right out the gate, I'm going to tell you to stay on it because shit's going to like pull your teeth out. I mean, it's really going through a spiritual awakening isn't easy because it feels like there's constantly a mirror in your face and all the flaws that you've done are just out there for everybody. You just kind of see them. But after a bit, you learn how to see things differently and accept those flaws because you know what? Everybody's got them. Everybody's got them. Let's see. Could I have missed a sign dad was going to die unexpectedly? No. And you couldn't have prevented it. Absolutely not, Jennifer. Nope. So you couldn't have. And I'm like, not for 1 second do I want you having any guilt with this because here's the deal. I cannot read anyone close to me. I can't read my mom, my husband, my children. I can't. So because I learned a long time ago, if I have these gifts, it is for other people only. It is not for me to personally use. I have tried. Oh, trust me, I have tried. Never works. So that's why I'm going to tell you, no, this was a lesson for you to learn, unfortunately. And no, you couldn't have predicted it. And I don't care if you're a psychic medium like me doing it all the time. No, you wouldn't have known. Does alcohol interfere with spirit just while drinking alcohol or no? It depends on how much you drink. So if you have ever gotten so drunk that you don't quite remember, or you weren't in your right mind, or you weren't acting like you, what ends up happening is that your body is so toxic, your soul jets out for a little bit and somebody decides to come in and take it for a joyride. So having a few, like I'll have a Captain and Coke once in a while. Absolutely. That doesn't make me any less spiritual. Your judgment on it maybe might, but it doesn't make me any less spiritual for having a cocktail or two. But what I won't do is have more than 3, because I know that is my limit and I will not go over that limit, because that there's a reason why alcohol is still legal, because it lowers your vibration so something else can come in and take it for a joyride. Okay. So there's a reason why plant medicine is not legal yet. So like I said, the biggest thing is, yes, it's okay to have alcohol, just don't get stupid with it, right? Every moderation, don't get stupid with it. So in April, like as I was just saying this, been dating somebody, can't get a vibe from this person, like others, good or bad thing. Like I couldn't read Eric either. So might be a good thing. Might be a good thing. So, okay, going back to the predicting death, if you see a vision that you're the one in the hospital in the bed, but then later realize it was your mom, Joy, this is the problem with foreseeing things in a dream state like that, because it doesn't ever pan out how you saw it per se. There's always like a different, like you're sitting over here instead of over here, or that's normal. And that's what makes it really frustrating as a psychic, because I can see it, but it's not always 100%. It's just not always 100%. And that's where I always tell people that you never go to a psychic medium that says, oh, I'm 100%. Like I'm always right on the money. I'm like, they're full of shit, because no psychic medium is 100%, because we're human. We make mistakes, right? This is a good one. What can you put in the office to remove negativity? The best thing, hang on a second. The best thing I can tell you is black tourmaline. So black tourmaline is a great one. And people that are a little bit more negative can't stand it. They can't stand it at all. So what do I think about bad dreams? Bad dreams are usually because you're going through drama in your real life. Always look up the meanings behind your dreams, always, because it's usually a clue into what's on top of the mind with you, and an emotion maybe that you can't control, that you can't necessarily control, or maybe that you're not even aware of it. So do you go to different dimensions when you dream? All the time. And a lot of times you don't even remember it. So this is a great question, because how do you calm a house that's a duplex but has activity? So here's the deal. This goes for apartments too. Number 1, sage it. And I'm fully aware that sometimes we can't sage. A little bit of palo works. You can also do it with singing bowls, sound. That's another way to clear it out. So once we get it cleared out, then what we're going to do is take some black tourmaline, whether that's a rough chunk or a pyramid, and put them in your 4 corners, because it's going to protect you above and below and on the sides. So doing that should really help out a lot. And if that still doesn't quite work because there's some activity, then we need to get the salt, get the black salt. And so you're going to sage, saying whatever you normally say. And then you're going to go around the outside of the apartment complex or the duplex and do that black salt and say something like, God, angels, please surround this house with love and light. Nothing negative is to enter past this salt. I want this place blessed. However you want to verbalize it. Really, there's no right or real wrong way to do it. Just make sure that you're talking to God and be like, hey, need a little help down here. So I always have to remind people, talk to God's source, energy, whatever, universe, whatever you want to verbalize it. Because ultimately, by you saying, hey, God, I need some help here, he is going to send the right person for the job. Us humans always like to think that we know, like, oh, we should ask angels for this and spirit guides for that. And we're not that smart. Just go to source. It's a hell of a lot easier. Really, it's a lot easier. But usually what I say is I'll say it out loud, Danny. I'll say something like, God, angels, please fill this house with love and light. Anything not serving me or my family's highest good must leave now. And then I'm going to open up the window a little bit, air it out, call it good. Call it good. Usually on the equinoxes is when I'm going to sage the house really heavy and reapply the salt. So it's just kind of a reminder for me, kind of like spring cleaning and fall cleaning. So I usually do the salt during those times. So we are having a full moon coming up here this weekend. So it's an excellent time to charge your crystals. Now I know in some places it's going to be a little bit colder. So I usually put mine on a cake pan and I'll take it outside, but this go around, it's so cold. I'm just going to line them up on my window seals here. And it doesn't matter if it's cloudy, rainy, or anything else, they'll still get charged. So, but the full moon cleanses and charges crystals. I always have to remind the ladies, don't forget about your earrings or your bracelets and stuff like that. So ask for a specific sign from your spirit guides and haven't seen anything for about a week. Should you have no expectations? You're A-okay with that, because anytime you expect it to happen, it won't, right? Let's see here. This one's a tough one. If a person is in a self-induced coma, are they doing some sort of life review? No, you don't get to do any life reviews until you've actually left your body, until that cord is severed. There's an etherical cord that will bind you to another person. Here's where it becomes morally, in my book, morally wrong. There are some mediums, and this has happened before in a couple sessions, where they are in a coma or they are in a dementia state where they're not in their body, and they're going up into a realm where I can actually talk to them. But I will tell you that, to me, moralistically, that ain't right. That ain't right. And this is where us as humans need to start having conversations with our family members and stating, hey, listen, if something happens to you, what do you want? And I know that's creepy. I know that's uncomfortable, but my children, my family knows my wishes. I know my children's wishes. I know my husband's wishes. I've discussed this with my mother. I've discussed this with my brother. We have everything planned out and done. So I'm not saying it's not uncomfortable to talk about. It is. But I have seen more families getting destroyed because they don't talk about it because, oh, it's too uncomfortable. Talk about it. Before it's too late, talk about it. Usually I have found that when they are in a comatose state, usually it's just easier for them to go home. It's really hard for us humans to keep them because we miss the physicality. And that, Shannon, has to be between you and your family, ultimately. It really, really does. Teresa private messaged me on that one, honey. Let's see here. This is a good one. How do we know we have spirit guides? You do. They will show up in a dream and you'll look at them and go, I know you. Have we met? Do I know you? I know you, right? And they look really familiar, like they could be our best friend, but we can't figure out where we've met them before. Or they feel like you found your soulmate in a dream. That's usually them, but everybody coming into this world will have a spirit guide. Oh, they will. Oh, they will. So how do you heal from growing up without your dad because he died and you were stuck with your toxic mom? Understand that. Well, like I said, I will tell you this. Let me put it this way, Courtney. I guarantee you are nothing like your mother. I guarantee you that you are the opposite of your mom in every way, shape, and form, because she taught you what not to do as an adult and as a mother. And that right there is why you picked her. You have to forgive her for that. You got to forgive her for that. And that's a hard one. But let's take this a step further. Let's look at how your mother was raised, especially by her mother. because if she's treating you toxically, I'm willing to bet money that she did not have a good relationship with her mother. Therefore, she doesn't know how to communicate effectively or be a good mother figure or even a good female friend because of that issue that she would have had with her mother. Okay. So I really want you to break that down and look at it, because in a way you won't get so angry about her. Instead, you'll feel sorry for her, because I guarantee you're nothing like your mother. You're not. This is a good one. What can you use to help your business succeed? A couple things. Number one, I want you to make sure that when you go to bed at night, that you're envisioning your business successful, whatever that is in your eyes, whatever that's defined at in your eyes. Okay. I will tell you there's certain crystals like jade and pyrite and citrine that are excellent to do a crystal grid with to help your business succeed. But ultimately, let's look at your marketing and advertising and how is that working for you? Are you reaching your target market? Are you really working on are you focusing on the people that you need to help? Or are you focusing in on everybody and wasting your time? So like I said, let's look at the marketing advertising aspect. Let's see what you could do to get yourself on the map as a niche in the market too, right? So why do so many teens have mental health issues? Because they don't have two parents. Most of them don't have two parents. And the one parent that is there is absolutely exhausted and they let him get away with everything. So like I said, I kind of see both sides on that one. But it's usually because most children nowadays don't have two parents. They have one. Let's see here, this one. How do you figure out what needs healing, or how do you do shadow work? You will know it when you're there. You're probably not there yet if you're asking this question. That means to tell me that you're, if you've dealt with your past, usually there's not going to be too much healing then. But what's going to end up happening is you're going to notice how you are responding or reacting to those triggers that you thought you healed. So, and that's what I'm like, you're probably not quite there yet. You're probably at a stage 3, but at a stage 4, you'll get there. You will. Somebody's asking, why is my mom having heart problems? Grief. So lung and heart issues are all about grief or broken relationships. So, oh, this is a good one. I just thought, how can your childhood imaginary friend be your spirit guide early in life and now later in life not be and change? Okay, so here's the deal. Usually if you have a spirit guide growing up, you're going to have a weird name for your spirit guide. Bobo, Gigi, woo-woo, something weird, right? That spirit guide is 9 times out of 10 usually with you throughout your entire life. But you will have different guides that come and go depending on what's needed. So you have different guides when you become a mother or a father. You have different guides when you marry somebody. You have different guides when you step up to the plate and do your life purpose. So we do have different guides that come in and out throughout our lives, but we usually have one spirit guide that is with us from birth to death. Absolutely. Do I believe that shadow workbooks help? Yes, they do. They really do, because I like writing things down and talking out loud because it slows your damn brain down for you to really kind of break it apart and dissect it a little bit better. What does a low kidney function mean? Usually kidneys have everything to do with the fact that you don't feel that you are up to speed or up to par compared to your siblings in your family dynamic. You feel like you're the outcast, or you don't feel like you're as successful as the rest of your siblings. You're comparing yourself to your siblings too much, or your placement within your family, usually. Marilyn, yes, you are feeling the other person's emotions. This is a good one. Debbie, what do I recommend having on a work desk to help with concentration? Believe it or not, I really like 2 things, and that's rainbow fluorite or any sort of fluorite, and selenite actually works pretty well. What does constant constipation mean? It means that you don't let anything go. You don't let, if anybody did you dirty, you will still bring it up at the dinner table 15 years later because you can't let it go. You hold on to pain and hurt and what may have happened to you. You hang on to that like a badge of honor. You let it go, forgive it. Gallbladder issues. Usually when I see a lady blowing out their gallbladder, it's usually because they're a high empath married to a narcissist. So it's usually guilt. Thoughts on borax water? A little pinch. Let's see here. I'm going to just do a little bit more. So, son has been sleepwalking a lot lately. Is there a reason for this? You know, Stacy, I don't know why, but I've been doing that lately too. And I haven't done that for years. I actually just the other day found myself on my chair over here and I woke up on my chair. Yeah, and that's why I heavily saged today. But it's not, people that are naturally intuitive have the tendency to sleepwalk a lot or sleep talk or kick or act things out. That's just really common for really intuitive people. Just make sure that your doors are locked so we don't go outside because again, we don't know what we're doing. So at least we have cameras nowadays that can help. So, here's a good one. Nancy just asked, what helps with procrastination? Procrastination is a mindset. Let's be real. Nobody, motivation is a joke. Motivation is a joke. Nobody's motivated to clean their house. Nobody's motivated to do the freaking chores that they don't want to do. Nobody's motivated. So what I've had to learn to do, because I have procrastination issues, I'll own it. What I have done and what I've learned to do is to give myself a treat, whatever that treat may be, give myself a treat when I do something and I accomplish it and I didn't want to do it. And I usually try to do it before noon. So, because if I can knock it out before noon, it's a little easier. If I wait until the afternoon, I don't have enough momentum. So, and that's where I'm like, nobody has motivation to do the things that they just don't want to do. So, and just understand that's a normal human behavior. It's totally normal, but that's okay. That, like I said, the biggest thing is do it right away in the morning and reward yourself. So, like I said, I'm going to finish it on this one, Brooke. How do you forgive those who hurt you, especially family? Look at how they were raised. I really want you to understand, can they see things from your eyes? No, they can't, nor will they ever. But you, in your position, can see hurt through their eyes. You can see why they hurt you by how they were raised. And when you do that, you don't take things so damn personally. And family hurting you is the worst. I'm fully aware of that. I really am. But I really want you to break it down and look at how they were raised so you could begin to feel sorry for their ignorance and begin to forgive them. So, like I said, that's not easy to do. Fully aware of that. So, let's see here. My daughter's depressed, no motivation, maybe ADHD, but wants to join the military. I'm not sure about this. Dawn, absolutely yes. We like structure. And if we know what is expected of us, we will excel. So I'm going to say not only yes to this, but hell yes. Don't let your fear interfere with her passion and what she wants to do. Don't let your fears screw it up. Don't do it. So, and then lastly, what can help with low energy, Emily? The biggest thing I'm going to tell you to help you with low energy, people that are low energy are constantly stressed out. And I would ask you, what is the biggest stressor you have? Fix it. So if your biggest stressor is work, I wouldn't be doing that job anymore. I'd be looking for something different. So if your biggest stressor is your husband, then we have to learn how to communicate better and effectively. And if that means we need to bring in a counselor, so be it. So if your bigger stressor is your kids, then we have to come up with some house rules, house chores, or something different. So people that are low energy are extremely stressed the frick out. And I'm like, stress is fixable. Stress is fixable because we're not made as humans to be constantly stressed out all the time. We're not. So we need to start asking for some help, which is not easy for everybody. But at the same time, let's start looking at the biggest stressors and start getting those off the plate here a little bit. Okay. I'm going to pause there. I am having a flash sale on Awakenings of Omaha's Facebook page tomorrow, just to kind of, again, I got to get rid of some stuff so I can buy some more stuff in Tucson because Eric said so and I have to. So, but starting on the Mondays, I have a bunch of workshops lined up in February. So like February 5th, I have Law of Attraction. The 12th, the chakra system, why things are blocked and how to open them. On the 19th, angels and spirit guides, what they can do, what they can't do, what the rules are, how to use them. And then we'll do a guided meditation so you can meet them. And then on the 26th is a meditation workshop. So I have a lot of workshops coming up in February. I have a lot of Q&As also coming up on February too. So along with one hell of a mega show when I get back from Tucson, but we are having 2 live crystal sales while Eric and I are in Tucson as well. So I want to thank everybody for watching again. I had to do this platform, but I didn't realize I was going to have this many questions because I had almost 500 people watching. So thank you again for allowing me to help you, because like I said, I love helping you guys answer your questions the best that I can. So again, want to thank everybody, but hopefully if you guys catch me on Awakenings platform tomorrow, great. So in the meantime, like I said, there's a full moon this weekend. Good time to get your crystals out to charge and cleanse. And if it's too chilly, just put them by the windowsill. It's all good. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful evening. All right, take care.